South Africa's public procurement bill seeks to boost public procurement through technology and economic empowerment, especially with regards to preferential procurement for black-owned enterprises. And while the piece of legislation has received a nod from the National Council of Provinces Select Committee on Finance, Katekani Mashamba, Senior Associate for Dispute Resolution at Cliffe Dekker Hofmeyer, maintains that it faces immense risks. She joins us with greater perspective on the bill. Thank you so much for your time, Katekani. Now, of course, what we were watching was yesterday the approval by the National Assembly. Of course, you know that the bill was adopted by the National Council of Provinces last week, and there were hopes that the National Assembly would accept it by the end of the day yesterday. Has that happened? Because I haven't seen any news about it.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for having me. So we haven't received any news on that. I'm hoping we will sort of hear something by the end of today or hopefully by Monday.
Wonderful. Let's talk about what this bill seeks to do here, Katekani, and why we've decided to, put it in place. Also, very polarizing. So let's maybe touch on that as well.
So I would say the primary objectives of this bill is basically to enhance transparency in the tender process, efficiency, integrity, minimize corruption, and to promote economic development and job creation. So the bill emphasizes the use of technology to provide access to officials and aims to recognize the need for promoting economic transformation within ownership and management control of Black people and advancing preferential procurement from enterprises that are Black-owned and managed by Black people in terms of the codes of good practice on Black management issued in terms of the Broad-Based Black Economic Empowerment Act. So an example is that there's an inclusion in the bill of designation of sectors. So for example, local production and content, so to source locally in South Africa.
Katekani, what has been so polarizing about it? Because what you're saying that it increases transparency, also using technology, and of course aiming to address some of the cracks that we have seen in the public procurement system. What actually are the conflicts here?
So I would say that there has been some criticism on the bill. So some people have said that the bill which basically removes the discretion and flexibility that should be available for procuring organs of state and institutions in developing their own preferential procurement policies. So in addition, the bill has been criticized as being a copy and paste of the 2017 preferential procurement regulations, which may be true to some extent, but these critiques may be taken on board and the bill may see further revisions as it's still going through another phase of public participation in the National Council of Provinces. But if it stays in this current form, there is no doubt that it will be a significant impact on how state resources are used. Whether the impact moves to needle towards achieving transformative goals of the Constitution is something that we will still have to see.
We'll also talk about then, some of the risks that you might be seeing here. I know in South Africa, anything this complex faces some kind of execution risk, the chances of us fumbling it in the process of trying to do a really good thing, which it sounds like we're trying to do, that's often very high, Katekani.
So let me say, if properly implemented, the benefits of properly implementing this bill and the regulations will definitely, if properly implemented, the bill will bring about good change and minimize corruption.
And just, talking about transparency, does the bill also allow for the scrutiny of these procurement activities by other organs and other stakeholders of the economy?
So the bill specifies that the Minister of Finance is required to prescribe measures for the public, civil society, and the media to access, scrutinize, and monitor procurement processes. So this indicates a commitment to the transparency and public oversight of procurement activities. So, however, I do not want to belabor much on that point, but this will also largely depend on the regulations. So even at the present moment, a decision by a state-owned enterprise to award or not to award a bid is administrative action, which is subject to court review. So it will be important to establish whether an internal remedy lies against the award of a tender before the courts can be approached to review any decision.
I also want to speak about compliance from the perspective of business, considering the SMMEs that do procure, or the government does procure from here. Is it possible that there might be some compliance risk there, a burden on them to be able to comply to some of the new provisions being put in place?
So I would say that the bill, so it will mostly depend on the minister and the regulations that will be spelled out by the minister. I think the only challenges that we might face mainly will probably, if it's not implemented, and if it's not implemented to pursue the objectives of the bill.
Well, talk to us also about the timing, Katekani, because we know that we are how many days before the election? I think less than 2 weeks. And obviously the fact that we're even supposed to get an approval from the National Assembly just yesterday. Is that a significant thing?
So I would say that obviously, there has been a lot of debate around the timing of the National Insurance Bill, but with the Public Procurement Bill, it has been long in the making and is a necessary enhancement of the public procurement process. So on my side, I would say that I do not see anything sinister in its timing. And I mean, I do feel that the changes and amendments that have been made to the bill will bring about a good change within the procurement structure.
So, of course, Katekani, we are still waiting for an update today with regards to what transpired yesterday in the National Assembly. But it does sound like, there's still quite a few things that still need to happen from the minister's side, before we can actually see this bill in full force. Let's just talk about some of those steps and if there also might, lead to just further delay in the implementation.
So while the NCOP processes may result in changes being made to this procurement bill, it is useful to pause and take stock of what is currently contained in the procurement bill. The special publication takes a more detailed look at the provisions currently found in this bill and unpacks them for the benefit of those who are interested and are likely to be affected by the unification of this public procurement under one statute. So the publication includes a number of stages. So there might still be some more deliberations and consultations.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your insights there, Katekani. Really appreciate it. That was Katekani Mashamba, Senior Associate for Dispute Resolution at Cliffe Dekker Hofmeyer.